Hello, everyone. It is now 10:02 a.m. on August 7th, 2026. Thank you for joining the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District EOC Community Update Meeting about the wildfires impacting Electoral Area B. My name is Michelle LaRue, and I am the Public Information Officer for the SLRD's Emergency Operations Center. I'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that the SLRD operates on the territories of the St'át'imc Nation, Lillooet Nation, and Squamish Nation, who are the original stewards and rights holders of these respective unceded territories. We're fortunate that representation from Shakaalwash First Nation, Lytton First Nation, Titquit First Nation, Chequaylach First Nation, Hoishin First Nation, and Lillooet Tribal Council have joined us on this call. Chief Bonnie of Shakaalwash will now start off this meeting, allowing us time for reflection and to respecting the emotional time that residents are in. Please go ahead, Chief Bonnie Adolph.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to all the BC Wildfire and FNAS and the other organizations, as well as the helicopter pilots for taking care of us for the last few weeks, diligently working at fighting this monstrosity of a fire. But I'd also like to say just a few words for the Creator to be watching over all of these people, to wrap their arms around all of the helicopter pilots and all of the people out there on the ground, all of our four-legged, two-legged, winged, making sure that everybody's safe. And again, thanks for today, for the invite, and hopefully we all work together in a good way and some good results in the end. Cooksjam, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Bonnie Adolph. Coordination and mutual support are essential to protecting the people, lands, and communities throughout the region. The SLRD is working collaboratively with response partners and First Nations, communities, and regional districts around us to coordinate information and actions, support residents, and strengthen the collective wildfire response. We're in this together. The purpose of today's meeting is to provide up-to-date information, outline the support available to residents impacted by the Riley Creek and Pear Lake wildfires, and provide an opportunity for you to ask questions to the team members who are working on this emergency response. We may not be able to answer every question today, particularly where conditions are changing or information remains unconfirmed. If you have questions that don't get addressed today, we will be sharing our 24/7 public information line so that you can get in touch there and we can help you out. Today, we'll hear updates from the SLRD Board Chair, Jen Ford, Electoral Area B Director, Vivian Birch-Jones, Vern Rasmussen and Nicole Bonnet, and Carly DeRosier and Mark Healy from the BC Wildfire Service, and Mark Phillips, the Director of the SLRD Emergency Operations Center. We'll then move into a moderated question period before closing out the meeting. A few housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded, and following the meeting, a link to the video will be shared on the SLRD website and our YouTube channel. We have muted everyone's microphones for the presentations, and when it's time for questions, we ask that you unmute yourself before speaking. For any technical issues, please reference our support guide, which is available on the SLRD website where you found the meeting link. We'll have time for a few questions for BC Wildfire Service, and these will be submitted over the chat function immediately following their updates. Then we'll have a longer dedicated question and discussion period later in the agenda where answers from the chat can be answered or you can ask your questions verbally. As BC Wildfire Service has limited time for questions, we request that each person not ask more than one question. You can submit questions at any time using your chat function. We might group some similar questions together so we can respond to as many topics as possible at the end of the call. Next up, we have Chair Ford, followed by Area B Director Birch-Jones, to each share a few words on behalf of the SLRD board. Please go ahead, Jen.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I really appreciate everyone joining today, and I hope you can hear me okay. It is a very stressful time for many people in Area B and Area C and all around the surrounding communities. We acknowledge and we send our support to communities that to members of our community who have had to leave their homes or are prepared to leave their home at a moment's notice. We're very, very grateful for everyone working together to not only support your neighbors, your family, have your plan ready, but we are very grateful to the first responders in this emergency and all emergencies in the surrounding area. You don't want to hear too much from me, but I am here to listen to your questions, to support our staff. And ultimately, if there are questions you have, we're certainly happy to take them offline if you're unable to get them answered today in this call. With that, I'll turn it back over to Michelle, and I'm really grateful for everyone being here today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chair Ford. And over to you, Director Birch-Jones.
Thanks, Chair Ford, Cookston, Chief Bonnie. I'm Vivian Birch-Jones, the Electoral Area B Director, and I'm watching these conditions and this fire, just like all of you, thinking what it means for our families, neighbors, properties, birds, animals, businesses. I'm grateful to be here this morning. I'm glad we're having this session with the SLRD as well as the EOC and the local BC Wildfire Service. This is a large and diverse area, and we have a lot of challenges in a lot of corners here. This is really tough. This is a long haul situation, and I just want to remind everyone, I know you're helping each other. I know you're as prepared as you can be. You also have to pace yourself and take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors. That's something that we do well. On behalf of the Area B and the SLRD, I really want to thank you for coming here and thank everyone for responding to this emergency and thank the residents for their patience, preparedness, and cooperation. Cookston, and turn it back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Director Birch-Jones. Before we have BC Wildfire Service make their updates, I would like to ask that Mark Phillips comes on for a brief update before they begin their presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michelle. As mentioned, I am Mark Phillips. I'm the SLRD EOC Director. Before we hand to BC Wildfire Service, I just knowing that the situation is it rapidly changes, this morning we received a recommendation from the BC Wildfire Service. Therefore, we'll be issuing an evacuation order today, which will be covering the area between Riley Creek and Texas Creek on the high side of Texas Creek Road. The area outside of that order will remain on evacuation alert, but I just want to share that before we hand it to our BC Wildfire Service partners. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mark. And now I'll pass it over to Vern Rasmussen to provide an update on the Riley Creek wildfire conditions, and followed by him will be Carly DeRosier to provide an update on the Pear Lake wildfire conditions. Both are from the BC Wildfire Service team, and we're very grateful that you're both here joining us today. Over to you, Vern.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for Nicole for getting that up. Good morning, Vern Rasmussen, the Lillooet Fire Zone Wildfire Officer and current Zone Wildfire Coordinating Officer and resident of Texas Creek. I have the great joy of watching this thing during the day and during the evening when I try to go home to get some rest. So I understand. So where we're at now. So the fire K70659 has exhibited further growth east coming out of the Riley Creek drainage and adjoining southern drainages, Cat and Toynick as well. So this growth has put us into a position where we have to, again, as Mark mentioned this morning, recommend orders for a certain area, which he's described. So at this time, this is going to be activating a number of other resources. SPS is back in there, reinvigorating the resources and upping their resources on site with crews. And for the next foreseeable future, we'll see crews 24 hours at this time. That'll be SPS crews, BC Wildfire Service crews on the ground, beefing up hose lines, putting in more resources, and that. We also will have a heavy machine group out there on standby. And as a lot of the locals are aware, we have our water dip tank and our retardant dip tank there, and we're increasing the fleet as we speak. Horses, orders we mentioned. So that's the current state of the fire right now. I don't want to go down too many wormholes and too many details that will bore you, but I don't know if you want to bring up any immediate questions at this time or later on into the program.
We could actually have maybe Carly provide her update and then have the questions go together.
Sure.
I think. And if you do have a
Yeah.
question for Vern, just pop it in the chat now, but we'll let Carly go first. And Carly, please go ahead.
Greg, thanks, Michelle. I will go ahead and share my screen here. Yes, so again, I'm the information officer here on the Pear Lake Fire, but the Pear Lake Fire is part of the Big Bar complex that is comprised of C41192, which is the Rim Lake Fire, the large Pear Lake Fire C40983, and the French Bar Creek Wildfire K70748. And then as of first thing tomorrow morning, or at the end of the operational period this evening, the complex is also assuming command of K71082, unless something changes during the day today, but that is the plan. So I will just focus on the south end of the Pear Lake Fire today, give a bit of an overview about what we're expecting, but similarly to elsewhere in the province, we are expecting more challenging conditions this weekend. Through the week this week, we've had very, very dense smoke. So we haven't been able to fly. Aircraft haven't been able to use aircraft throughout most of the week. When we have seen skies clear, we've had helicopters flying. But for the most part, we've really been working heavily with our ground crews, doing a lot of good work. Unfortunately, going into the weekend with the smoke clearing and rising temperatures throughout the week and the ongoing drought in the area, we are expecting some challenging conditions across the entire complex. But in terms of the south area here, so I just want to start with this finger. What we're seeing primarily in this area where the fire is burned over to into the Fraser Canyon, we're seeing not a lot of fire behavior. There's just not a lot of fuel in that area available to burn. And same thing when the fire is creeping into this rangeland here. There's a lot of, it's been heavily grazed, so we're seeing it's kind of self-extinguish once it gets into that flatter terrain. And not moving at any notable rate. We also have strike teams in the area extinguish any hotspots that do pop up on the rangeland, but we're not seeing aggressive fire behavior or growth. It's really slowing down once it gets into that area. However, in this area where we do see this section of dense timber, there is this wick here. That's where it has been most active in recent days. It hasn't been moving at any significant rate, but it does remain active in this area where we have the dense timber, and that area will continue to be influenced by the wind throughout the weekend. The wind is going to be coming from the northwest, so it'll continue to most likely spot into the rangeland and continue to kind of progress more slowly or self-extinguish, or crews will be on it as those hotspots do pick up. But that is an area we're keeping a close eye on with the wind that we're expecting. So if I move over to further to the east, this area here, we saw quite a bit of fire activity yesterday. It was active throughout the week, but with that smoke cover, the lower temperatures and higher humidity earlier this week, we weren't seeing much growth. But as soon as the wind picked up yesterday and the skies cleared, we saw fire behavior increase quite significantly. The challenge in this area specifically is that if we kind of zoom in and adjust the view here, is that we can see it's quite kind of rugged, challenging terrain. So we do have heavy equipment. They have been working along this area to to establish a control line, but it's not as straightforward when the terrain is as kind of rugged and jagged as it is. We have repositioned other heavy equipment that was working elsewhere on the fire to expedite that process in the event that we do get wind that would be favorable to do an ignition operation to try to slow the progression towards the south. Again, that'll only be if we get the suitable conditions. If we continue to see the wind from the northwest, that is not going to be a feasible option, and we'll have to kind of look at other options and likely focus more on values protection, values defense, or structure defense, values protection, especially if we get significant growth. That the main area of concern in this area, you can see we have the area where it's kind of slowing down, again, the rangeland to the west, and we have this old burn here to the east. So the area of primary concern would be this section of unburnt and available denser timber through the middle, where it could continue to push. It's unlikely that we will see direct southward growth because we don't have there's no forecast wind in the next kind of 3 days or so that's coming directly from the north, but we do have that northerly component. So it will kind of still continue to work its way down this section, but not moving directly, will likely be moving more towards the southeast. So yeah, we have plans in place. That's one of the primary areas of concern going into the weekend. Yeah, maybe I'll leave it at that and would be happy to answer any questions about other areas of the fire, but recognizing that it might not be as relevant to this audience, I'll leave it there and wait for questions.
Thank you so much, Carly. We do have a question in the chat, and this is referring to the new order for Riley Creek. So Vern, if you can answer, that would be amazing. Is the new order expected to persist for a week or more?
I was madly typing to answer that one. I'm going to say for the time being, it's day by day. We'll see what the progress is like for the bucket machines on that section. So I'm going to say day by day. Realistically, 2 or 3 days to start with. The other one was short as well. So day by day, just on progress and fire behavior and weather.
Excellent. And there was another question in the chat, and I did answer it, but I'll just bring this up for the entire group. From Jane was that the high side of Texas Creek Road?
I could speak for Mark. Yes, the recommendation that we presented to SLRD was Riley South to Texas Creek South and above the road at this time.
Excellent. If anybody else has a question for BC Wildfire Service, please enter it into the chat. From Shelley, we have, from what was said, does it look like little growth is expected towards Pavilion Lake?
Yeah, so we are going to see the fire continue to push southward. We had opposing wind in that area this weekend or throughout the week, and it did continue to grow. So it does just highlight how volatile these fuels are. So we had, very little wind this week, and it still continued to progress. So if we get that stronger winds, especially if we get wind upwards of 30 kilometers an hour, which is possible with the instability, especially if we have thunderstorms develop in the region. So there is the potential for it to continue to grow, but it will move likely more towards the southeast as opposed to directly towards the south. But that's not out of the question, especially with the instability that with the more erratic winds, it's just harder to predict the wind direction and the wind speeds. So that, I'm not saying it's out of the question. We're just unlikely to see a direct southward growth, but fuels there are very receptive.
Thank you, Carly. From Tyler, we have a question that will be for Vern. Is there much concern the Riley Creek fire may move to the north if winds kick up?
Darn mute button. Okay, yeah, there's always a concern with the winds. That's definitely an agent that does create that type of activity. As mentioned before, the next few days. We're not expecting much for winds at this time, but it's always on our mind.
Thank you. From Jenna, we have a question. What are the benefits of downgrading from order to alert, or regarding managing it day to day, as opposed to holding an order in place for a longer period?
That to me, myself.
I think for Riley Creek, just that we did have an order to an alert back to an order.
Well, from my perspective, the alert has its purpose for initiating the planning and getting people up to speed and getting prepared, and obviously getting ready to that always potential moving to order for planning purposes, and it also moving in and out from order to alerts changes the resourcing needs, commitments to that fire. So obviously today, with the movement to an order now, that elevates and allows access to even more resources that much more quickly, because we are provincially competing with resources all over the place. So from my end, Mark, how about your end?
No, concur. Thank you.
All right. A question. Are winds expected to change course? We are the TFN EOC. We also have cultural items along the Pavilion Creek in the rougher terrain in the path of the southeast of Pear Lake. So for Carly.
Yeah, thanks. I was just replying to that in the chat. I'm saying, are the winds expected to change course? Yeah, so again, with the instability there, we are seeing kind of an interesting wind forecast for the entire fire. It looks like we're going to see more westerly, northwesterly, but there is some indication that there could be a bit of easterly in there too. So that just kind of goes to show that with the instability and the weather pattern that we're expecting through the weekend, it's really harder to pin down that exact wind direction. And then with the terrain feature, the influence of the terrain features as well. So I'd love to connect you with our liaison, Ryan Pascal. He's here working with us on the incident. I'm going to put my email in the chat if you don't mind reaching out to me via email or by phone after this call, and we'll make sure that you're in touch with our organization so we're aware of your primary concerns. That would be great.
Great. And we have a question from Joan. Could we please see a map of the Riley Creek fire and order and an update? I might pass it over to Mark, but just to note that our team, the rest of the EOC, is currently working on those map files. As we're having this call, it all came together first thing this morning, but I'll let Mark give some more info there.
Correct. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, the rest of our EOC is working on getting this map together. We will hopefully be sharing it within the coming hours. And again, that evacuation order area is from Riley Creek to Texas Creek on the upward side of the road, the uphill side of the road.
Michelle, if I can just extend on Mark, it's Nicole from the Kamloops Fire Center. From the wildfire side of things, as we get new perimeters with our new wildfire platform that we've had for the last couple of years, as soon as a new perimeter is taken, it is uploaded into our GIS database and it shows up on our public facing website. There is no lag time anymore. So the perimeter that you can see on the map on the website is the perimeter that BC Wildfire Service is working with. This applies to any fire across the province, and the evacuation alert areas will be reflective of the new order that's going to be implemented. Once the polygons are submitted from the SLRD to EMCR, and then the evacuation alert and order areas that show on our map pull from the EMCR map. So just because the calls happen back to back here for the SLRD, it will take a little bit of time for all of those little back-end paperwork pieces to make their way through the system.
Thank you so much. And Joanne just said, I just meant the same kind of update you've been giving for the Pear fire. Vern was updating on the Riley Creek fire at the top end of the call. But if you had any further questions, please get in touch. Maybe we can answer that one offline if you're looking for more information there. Were there any structure losses on SLRD properties on Pear Lake Road from JM? And that would be for Carly, I guess, or Mark.
Yeah, when we do when there are structure impacts, we work with the regional district, and then they would do their rapid damage assessments and make sure the area is safe for return, and also do the notification. So I can't necessarily speak to that. And if there hasn't been any notification from the SLRD, then I would say, yeah, they would be the ones to reach out to. I don't know if Mark, you have anything else to add on that, but.
Yeah, thanks, Carly. I can confirm that we have not received any notification from BC Wildfire Service about structural loss.
Great. So I think that we've come to the end of the questions here for BC Wildfire Service. So Jenna Bright, echoing Joan's comment, if you could provide a similar description as was done for Pear Lake to provide context on expected behavior for Riley Creek. Vern, did you have more that you would like to add here?
In regards to that, yeah, we had a initial one the day before through advanced planning. With the fire growth that's occurred now, we're inserting that information to provide a more up-to-date, detailed understanding of how this fire will growth, because this one's challenging with the valley orientation, the streams, the rugged terrain, the fuel, the drought. So that's ongoing.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to wrap up this section so that we can move on to Mark's updates. So next up, we have Mark Phillips, the SLRD EOC Director, and he's going to provide an update on evacuation measures, EOC actions, and the support available to residents. Please go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Michelle. Hello, everyone. As mentioned, I am Mark Phillips. I am the SLRD EOC Director. The SLRD Emergency Operations Center remains activated to level 3 in response to multiple wildfires affecting communities across the region. The role of the EOC to this response is broad. Our priorities include maintaining evacuation information and ensuring that the public can access the information they need, coordinating with BC Wildfire Service and affected First Nations and local governments, supporting evacuees with emergency social services, monitoring infrastructure, road, and utility issues that will affect residents, and planning for potential changes in wildfire activity as communicated to us daily in Provincial Regional Emergency Operations Center and BC Wildfire Service calls. As mentioned, we currently have multiple evacuation alerts and orders in effect across Area B, including some updated and new as of today and yesterday. Just stepping back, as a reminder, an evacuation alert means there is potential threat to life and safety. Residents are not being asked to leave during the alert stage, but they should be prepared to leave on short notice. An evacuation order means there is an immediate threat to life and safety. Anyone within an order area must leave immediately and follow the directions provided in the order. We understand the severity and impact evacuation measures have on residences and businesses and do not take them lightly. Ultimately, we always make decisions prioritizing public and responder safety. As of today, August 7th, 2026, the following SLRD evacuation measures are in effect in Area B due to the Riley Creek wildfire. At the recommendation of BC Wildfire Service, we will be issuing an evacuation order today, which will be covering the area between Riley Creek and Texas Creek on the high side of Texas Creek Road. If you're not signed up for SLRD alert, please do so now to ensure you receive this information. The evacuation alert, which is displayed here and will be updated shortly for the surrounding area, remains in place. Within this, there are a total of 98 properties currently on evacuation order and alert in the Texas Creek area. I will also note that the Texas Creek remains open at this time. And for the Pear Lake wildfire, as of today, the evacuation measures in place include the evacuation orders issued on July 20th and July 25th for properties in the Pear Lake area and South Pear Lake remain in effect. And this order was expanded yesterday to include the additional areas southeast of Pear Lake. There was also an evacuation alert issued yesterday, including areas and properties in the Marble Canyon Park area and the Pavilion Lake area, West Pavilion Road area, north of Slot Creek, and north of Fred Antoine Park area. It is also important to note that the SLRD's EOC is also responding to the Twin Two Creek and the Bonanza Creek wildfires with evacuation orders and alerts in Electoral Area C and A. We ask that you please rely on the maps and property information published by the SLRD to confirm whether a property is affected. Wildfire conditions can change quickly and evacuation measures may be expanded, reduced, or rescinded based on recommendations from BC Wildfire Service. When BC Wildfire Service recommends a change, the SLRD works to issue and communicate that change as quickly as possible. Next, I would like to provide some information about emergency social services, also called ESS, for residents who are impacted by the evacuation orders. As a brief overview, ESS is a provincially funded program that is administered and delivered locally by local governments. ESS provides eligible evacuees with short-term support for basic needs such as accommodation, food, clothing, and other essential needs. The province of BC establishes the program, eligibility rules, and tools, while the local government coordinates how evacuees access support during a specific emergency. For those impacted by these fires, the SLRD has agreements for Canadian Red Cross and the District of Lillooet to deliver ESS. All residents can register for ESS in advance or after being issued an evacuation alert or order, and you can register online at ess.gov.bc.ca. If you are on an evacuation order and require ESS immediately, you can find information on how to receive support by visiting our website, calling our public information line, visiting an in-person reception center if there is one open to support your area, or by calling the Canadian Red Cross at 1-888-800-6493. You can also call the BC Evacuee Helpline anytime for help with ESS, and the number is 1-800-387-4258. I will note that the District of Lillooet is opening a reception center at the Lillooet Rec Center, and that will be open from 1 to 6 today. If you are, excuse me, if you are not on evacuation order, but on an evacuation alert, this is a good time to plan ahead for accommodation and transportation. Summers in BC are busy to begin with, and given the wildfire situation across the province, hotels, group lodging, and other emergency resources are limited. Please reach out now to family or friends outside your area who may be able to provide a place to stay. If you do not have access to a vehicle, arrange transportation in advance. Also check in with neighbors, family members, or friends who may need support leaving safely. If you or someone you know cannot arrange transportation, contact the SLRD Public Safety Duty Officer at 604-384-7357 as early as possible during an evacuation alert. Early notice helps the EOC identify needs and work with partners to coordinate possible assistance. I also want to mention that this summer we have brought on an EOC agricultural coordinator to assist farmers and ranchers who are being impacted by these fires. We strongly recommend that agricultural producers review evacuation and livestock relocation plans, confirm that premise ID information is current, contact us early if you require assistance, and follow evacuation orders and coordinate access requests through the proper channels at the SLRD. Agricultural producers under evacuation alert may be eligible for financial support for approved livestock relocation costs. The SLRD Agricultural Coordinator can be contacted at 604-384-7329, Before taking action, please contact them so eligibility and arrangements can be confirmed. Before I close, I want to share some information on what SLRD residents can do now, regardless whether they are on an evacuation alert or not. Residents who are under evacuation alert should make personal preparedness their priority. Be ready to leave on short notice by packing essential items, making a plan for family members and pets, and ensuring you can depart quickly if an evacuation order is issued. Property preparation should never delay your evacuation. Only if it is safe and time allows, remove combustible debris from roofs, gutters, and decks, move combustible materials away from buildings, mow and clear dry vegetation, and close doors, windows, and vents before leaving. The SLRD is increasing our Fire Smart capacity to deliver more targeted community preparedness events and walkthroughs. Work will be prioritized based on impact and risk. Please email firesmart@slrd.bc.ca to arrange for support. You can also find our complete Fire Smart last-minute evacuation checklist on the SLRD Wildfire Updates page. The best thing residents can do now is stay informed, have a plan, and be ready to act if conditions change. Being prepared helps you, your family, and emergency responders. Lastly, I want to thank everyone who's been involved in this response, from our regional partners and First Nations to BC Wildfire Service and all first responders, and to those who are working on our EOC and also SLRD staff who are keeping business moving forwards while many of us are away from our day jobs working on this response. To those residents who are currently on evacuation or evacuation order, and to everyone watching this wildfire season with concern for your home, family, or community, please know that we are working around the clock with our response partners to support public safety and provide the information and assistance you may need. And with that, thank you, and I'll hand it back to you, Michelle. You're on mute, Michelle.
Sorry about that. Thanks so much for the update. That's a lot of information, and there's some questions in the chat about the phone numbers and where you can find them. At the end of the call, we will have a slide that will have all those numbers on there. So yeah, we're just going to go over our main sources for the up-to-date information and how you can get in touch with us to make sure that you have all of those numbers. The SLRD Wildfire Updates page on slrd.bc.ca/SLRD Wildfires 2026 has all of our current alerts and orders, maps, preparedness resources, and links to partner information. This page is a one-stop shop with links to the BC Wildfire Service dashboard for each active fire in the SLRD, and the contact information that we've been giving out today can also be found on that page. We also have a 24-hour EOC public information line available at 1-844-815-6199. And as mentioned earlier, agricultural producers and ranchers can call Graham, our agricultural coordinator, directly at 604-384-7329. Please remember to use official sources to get your wildfire information. The conditions are changing very quickly, and the information that you might be finding on social media could be incomplete or outdated by the time you're seeing it. Please be sure to sign up as well to receive the SLRD Alert Emergency Notifications. This is sent through Voyant Alert, and you can subscribe for free at slrd.bc.ca/alert and have them sent through to you by text, email, or a phone call to a landline. We also encourage you to sign up for email updates and newsletters on our website. So now we're going to open the floor to your questions. We have representatives from the SLRD's EOC team, including Emergency Support Services, the SLRD Fire Smart team, and our agricultural coordinator available here to respond. Please raise your hand to ask the question and we'll answer in the order they're received. You must have accepted the team's prompt at the beginning of this call to be able to activate your microphone. If you're having any challenges activating your microphone, please just enter your question into the chat. We'll keep the questions brief and focus on information that might be useful to the broader community involving what's happening now. Personal cases involving private information can be addressed through the appropriate contact following the meeting. So yeah, we'll just open the floor to questions.
Michelle, I think Carly just wanted a little bit of space as well, or she had another comment from BC Wildfire Service.
Go ahead, Carly.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, my apologies. I did want to highlight one thing. We're getting a lot of questions here at our complex. I just wanted to share. We're getting a lot of questions about where to get information on the fires in our complex, and there is a page that I often find that people may be unaware of. So I just wanted to show people where to get the most up-to-date and detailed information. So here you're looking at the BC Wildfire Service map. You can access it by just Googling BC Wildfire Service map. This is also the same map that you would see on our app as well, if you have that on your phone. Once you find the fire that you're looking for information on, you click that icon right there and then select the fire, you'll see the high level details. But once you go into the full details, it'll first open up to this kind of overview page where you can see the size of the fire, evacuation orders and alerts, contact information. This is the same contact information that I put in the chat. And then this is the page that I often find that people aren't necessarily aware of. This is where all the best information is located. This is being updated at least once a day, if not twice a day, and it includes all the details that I mentioned in the overview in terms of what we're expecting for fire behavior, what crews are doing about it, and a little bit more about, we often include critical infrastructure, highways, things like that. So this is the page that you want to be checking on a regular basis. This, the update timestamp, this will update once this page is updated, but it also updates, as Nicole mentioned, that as soon as there's a perimeter, it pushes in real time. So that the timestamp may be for a perimeter update, but it also indicates that this has been updated. So for example, 9:47 this morning, this is when we posted our morning update. And with the weather that we're expecting over the weekend, it's likely that we'll be updating this page twice a day and potentially more if required, if the situation is very dynamic. So I really encourage folks to check out this page, not only on our fire, but all the major fires in the province. And if you can't find the information you're looking for, there is contact information here, but this is the best place to go to find those additional details. Thanks for giving that extra moment.
Thank you, Carly. And I see Robin has her hand up, so I could let you ask. She did have a question in the chat as well from Yalakum community. Are there any expectations of putting their community on alert in the next week for the Yalakum? And I'll just.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin. Thank you for the question.
Thanks, Robin, for the question. I'll hand it over to BC Wildfire Service. The SLRD, we follow the recommendations, and we get the recommendations from BC Wildfire Service related to evacuation alerts and orders. And so we have not, Yalakum is currently not on evacuation alert, but I don't know if there's a partner from BC Wildfire Service who can speak to their projections. Carly? No, that's you.
Yeah, sorry. Can you just repeat that question? You're looking for projections on the Pear Lake?
Yeah, regarding Yalakum, which is in Area B on the west side towards the Area A border, French Bar fire. Wondering if there's any likelihood that they could go on evacuation alert this week.
Yeah, so we've seen the French Bar Creek has been very active this entire week. Even again, without the sun and the wind, we saw it produce a convective column and a pyrocumulus cloud this week. So even when the Pear Lake fire has been minimal fire behavior has been observed, the French Bar Creek fire remains very, very active. So we're watching that closely. So yeah, there is the potential there. That southernmost edge hasn't moved a whole lot. It's kind of hung up where it is, but it wouldn't take much for it to continue, especially if it were to get into that drainage and up that slope with the wind from the north. There is the ongoing potential there and Bonanza as well. So that's an area that we will be keeping a close eye on, and we'll be working working closely with the SLRD if additional orders and alerts are recommended. But yeah, the French Bar Creek has been very active, and we're seeing, even with no wind, that these fires are growing a couple kilometers per day. So when we get the added wind, the potential for more significant growth is certainly there.
Thanks so much, Carly. It does appear like the questions have been answered that are in the chat. There was a question about the Big Bar Complex email address bouncing back. Daryl Adrian has popped in a correct email address for that. So if you were the person asking about that, it's been in there. Joanne is asking, I'm still unclear on the possible or probable direction on the Riley Creek fire and threat to Lillooet.
Vern had to step off the call because he's got other work that he needs to get to. I do feel like this has been answered to a degree. The evacuation order has been recommended again based on overnight fire activity and the weather that is kind of forecast for the coming days, which Carly also talked about. Well, she talked about that in specifics to the Pear Lake wildfire. It does also apply to sort of the broader Lillooet area. People will have seen, I'm sure those who live in town, that Riley Creek was a little bit more active last night. There was a thermal belt in the area, so that's warmer, drier air at elevation. That elevation happened to align with the elevation of the fire. And because the fire is burning on a steep slope when it's more active overnight and there's burning debris, the burning debris succumbs to gravity and sometimes rolls down the slope. So you'll see it's pretty common for fires burning on a steep hillside to do almost what like a zipper effect would be a good way to describe it. It kind of burns down the slope and then you'll see it climb back up and back down and kind of does a little zigzag. And so we're still seeing some of that activity, and that in combination with the warm, dry weather that we are expecting, it has resulted in the re-recommendation of an evacuation order so that people can be out of the area and safe, because life and property is our first priority for the public and also our first responders. But recognizing that we can't always predict exactly what the wind is going to do, even when we do the best to predict it, can't really say right now without seeing, you know, what ends up coming from the weather forecast, whether or not there is a direct threat to sort of like the core area of Lillooet itself. But it is why we have fire behavior analysts and look at growth modeling and are watching the weather and have structure protection in the area and all of sort of the pre-planning work that's occurred to date for the Riley Creek wildfire.
Thanks so much. And I have a question that I'll send over to Mark. A couple of questions just on managing security for Riley Creek and the Texas Creek Road.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, we want to make the conditions where folks feel comfortable leaving their places in the evacuation order area. We are working closely with the RCMP and BC Wildfire Service to define the needs that are that we can to people feel comfortable leaving. So we are working through that now, and we will we're working closely with those partners to define what is needed.
Right, thank you. And just a reminder, if you want to raise your hand, we can take your questions verbally or you can put them in the chat. From Claire, how can I find the number of properties impacted by an alert or order? Some notices seem to clearly list this, but others don't. Mark, can you explain?
The properties, we try in our evacuation orders and alerts to list them in there. So if there are, and also we provide a map of the area. So our intention is that they should have a listing of those addresses in those order and alert documents that are posted on our website.
Okay. just go to.
Can I ask a final follow-up question to that? Sorry. So I'm calling from the MP office. I'm the staffer in the Kamloops office here. So MP Caputo just asked me to sit in on this meeting for him. So we've got the evacuation alerts kind of all over our riding. And so that's like, is there an expectation of a list of how many people are impacted? Because they always seem to be, they're coming on, they're dropping off, and I'm trying to follow it. And I'm just wondering if you guys, the BC Wildfire people or some of these EOC people, if you know, is there an easy way for me to keep track of how many people are being impacted by these? I'm kind of new to this. I'm sorry if it's a stupid question.
No, not at all. I would say that the situation is changing very quickly, and orders and alerts are, often being issued and upgraded or downgraded. So I would say that our website is where you can find the most up-to-date information and the listing of those properties.
Okay, so go right to the SLRD website is the best then, really?
That's correct.
Because
Yeah,
I've been trying to go through the BC Wildfire, like looking at the maps and such, like they were showing before, but I should go right to the district websites would be better, maybe. Okay, thank you.
correct. Order and alerts documents are on the SLRD website.
Okay.
Service.
Yeah. Claire, I just gave you a URL in the chat, and that will have the list of all of the active orders and alerts that are within the SLRD. Based on where you're located, you might also need to be tracking what's on for the TNRD. I'm not sure, but yeah, so you've got a lot to keep track of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Jenna.
Jenna?
Oh yeah. Sorry, Claire, I was just gonna add.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Oh, there's
Michelle,
something
do you
for
mind if
Claire.
I add one thing on the properties? Yeah, Claire, I was going to say same thing with if you're looking at different regional districts, EMCR may be able to provide that detail as well. They do, I can't guarantee it, I'm not with EMCR, but they do more of that tracking. So if you're looking for details, it is a regional district.
What's EMCR?
Sorry, the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the provincial. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, they work closely with the regional districts, local governments, and First Nations, and they do more of that tracking. So I would encourage you, if you're struggling to find the specific numbers, they may be able to help.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
All right, Jenna, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, I was just going to quickly follow up on the security front. Where will additional information be shared as that gets developed?
Yeah, so our team, I know in the background right now, is working through all of these issues because this is a fairly new recommendation received. But in communications today and going forwards, we will look to outline what is in place so residents are aware.
And that will be through the SLRD channels and what's on the website?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And a question from Jane, and this will be our last question before we wrap up so we can get rolling with these new changes to our alerts and orders. Is there a key to the writing at the top bottom of our driveways? And also, is this chat being saved? I'm going to capture the chat so that we can grab anything that isn't shared and make sure that our wildfire updates page is updated with information that we need to add there. And then with the writing, I think that might be something for BC Wildfire Service.
What fire is?
I think this is for Riley. Is this for Riley Creek, Jane?
Maybe Michelle, I can pop in. I'm thinking that this is related to addressing, so BC Wildfire Service can see the address. So yeah, strongly encourage, and I know the SLRD has projects underway to support this, but I think it's important that BC Wildfire Service and any first responder is able to identify your property. So if you do not have signage at the bottom of your property from the main road, please do put that signage in place so they can access. I hope that answered the intent of the question.
Yeah, maybe I'll just take and extend. Without seeing the written signs, I can't tell you confidently what they are. But to Mark's point, if you if your driveway is not well marked, or your property is not well marked, it would be a good idea to do that. If it's like flagging or colors, it's possible, yeah. So the various colored structure protection tape, some of it is triaging, letting people know like what type of, what are the words I'm looking for? What type of structures or whether or not people are there or not, like all of those different things. It's for the structure protection teams to have a better idea when they're coming back in to set up structure protection, because prior to the last evacuation order, there was some triage and pre-planning that was done, and they used different colored flagging tape and markings to indicate to each other when they're not working on the same property together what may or may not have been done, or what remains to be done, or what can be done on a property, or can't be done on the property in the advance of a fire coming into the area.
Thanks so much for that, Nicole. So with that being said, we will wrap this up. Thank you everyone for your time today. Please remember, if there's questions that we haven't had time to get to, you can call our public information line at any time so that you can get your question answered. And I'd now like to pass it over to CAO Heather Paul to provide our closing comments.
Hi, everyone. Just confirming that you can hear me. I see some nods. Perfect. My name is Heather Paul. It's great to see everyone here. I know that many of you are working through evacuation alerts and orders that are coming, so I'm going to keep this really short. I want to thank BC Wildfire Service for taking the time to come here. It's a lot to ask when they're managing all the fires that they are, and it just demonstrates how important community and the safety of your lives and structures is to them by taking the time to come here and ask questions. I also want to thank dearly the EOC staff that have been working. They are getting breaks, and we are taking care of them, making sure they take care of themselves, because what they're putting first right now is taking care of you. Right now, while we talk, there's a group of staff behind the scenes working on those evacuation order maps, etc. So we work hard to make sure that work doesn't stop and you guys get the closest information you can to real time. I want to take a minute, though, just to flag that, ask Michelle here so I don't forget. It sounds like there's flags and signs at the bottom of people's driveways that BC Wildfire Service is putting in. So it might be good for us to find out that information and help communicate that through BC Wildfire through ourselves. So we can ask BC Wildfire Service if they have any communication info on that, and we can share it on our page. Speaking of pages, I don't usually do this, but I wanted to do this because it sounds like there was a lot of interest in some of the websites, and we have a great website as well that I wanted to share with you. BC Wildfire Services website is amazing. And I hope to goodness Drive BC is taking notes. If you go there, all you have to do, if you don't have the link, is Google BC Wildfire Services map, and you will see so much information. And if you click on full details, I cannot believe how much great information BC Wildfire is just sharing, and it's such a difference between the last few years that we've experienced it. Now, the SLRD webpage, what we do at the SLRD is we try really hard not to be copying information, but instead sharing links to the true source of the information. So if you go to SLRD, just our homepage, bc.ca, you'll see, if you scroll down, something specifically for Emergency Operations Center. You can jump straight to the evacuation alerts and orders. And for the person asking for a list of addresses, the SLRD on these PDFs, if you see the evacuation alerts and orders, list the addresses as best we can. We also have a map and ensure that the map is the true source of information there. And then the other page, look, I just Googled Squamish-Lillooet Regional District. The other one is the BC Wildfire Updates page. This page has everything that you heard today, from the emergency public info line to agricultural information to links to the virtual meetings that have been taking place and will be taking place, all of the orders. Links straight to that BC Wildfire Services map that you saw at the beginning there. So if you don't know where to get it, you can just come here and you can get a link straight to that map and the information, roads and highway impacts, and how to prepare for an evacuation. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that page. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for information that you're requesting. I want to thank everyone who came onto this call and spent their time, but specifically the nations on whose territory the SLRD operates. I'm very grateful for your communications and partnerships. I'm grateful that SLRD EOC staff have a lot of your numbers in their phone and they can call straight away, and the conversations that we're having on provincial calls is very appreciative. And I do not like having the last word. And I really want to pass this over to Director Birch Jones, your Area B representative and your neighbor. And she can have it for the last words. Thanks.
And your neighbor. Yeah, hello, friends and neighbors. This is a good turnout, good questions. I saw Chief Justin come on from Squilex. Welcome. And yeah, well, welcome to everyone here. I'm not going to try and do a list of thank yous. I think thank you, CAO Paul. You did a good job covering it. Thank you, staff. And yeah, we're just going to take care of ourselves, take care of each other. And I'm ready to sign off.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks. And this recording will go up as soon as we download it for everybody. Thank you.
Good job.